Today I thought I'd take you on a tour of my account and what I plan to do with it. What units I'm going to plan to pull for, what units I'm going to build that I've already got, and so on. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I realize it's been a very, very long time actually, because my list of planned pulls, I've gotten most of the units by now, because it was done so long ago. I just released a video on my Google Sheet that helps you plan the building of your units. You just need to plug in what you've got, the units you want to build, and it'll tell you how many resources you need. Link in the description to this sheet so you can create a copy for yourself, and a video on how to use it. So let's get into my account. My account, I created the account at the release of Rosmontis and Mudrock, that limited banner. I didn't actually play the account properly until around the Mansfield break initial run with Mountain. And when I first created the account, all I wanted to do was to reroll until I got a decent start, which I figured was the starter unit that I wanted plus any decent 6-star. I didn't know how to reroll properly back then. I was doing it the very, very slow way, which involved re-downloading more than half of the game every time I wanted to reroll, so it just took forever. And eventually I got, I started with, hang on, let me bring this up. I started with Exia. She was the starter unit that I actually wanted, and the other 6-star I had was Suzu. And I was like, okay, people say she's good, I'll just go with that. I would have liked something else, or perhaps I should have gone for 3 6-stars, but because of how awful my reroll method was, it was just taking forever per reroll. And also I wasn't certain if I was actually going to play the game long term anyway. And as a matter of fact, it did take me a couple of months to properly get into it. But once I was into it, I was all the way in. As you can tell by the fact that I make videos about this game and stream it frequently on Twitch, by the way, at twitch.tv/drvelk. So now my account has, after all this, free to play with the monthly card and the occasional 6-star selector ticket. It has quite a lot of units. The main thing that's bottlenecking me is the number of resources available to build units, because I don't use OP to refresh for farming. I am way too paranoid of running out of pulls. For me, an emergency stash of pulls is like 150 extra pulls. I've also, if you look at my inventory, to give you a perfect illustration of how much of a paranoid player I am, if you look at these are free potentials for 6-star units. I haven't used any of them, and I'm paranoid about using them because I feel the moment I use them, they will announce a unit that is better, a better candidate for those. So it's the same thing with using OP. I also rarely buy skins. Generally, I'm not that much of a skin enjoyer. The skin has to be a significant improvement over the default for me to want to spend any money on it, even if it's some of my favorite units. Yeah, so the account in the early days, like some of my early 6-stars, I got with my first month, I got a top operator tag back when I didn't know in recruitment you could combine multiple tags. So I just did the top operator blind and I got Helliger, although he's a great unit and I love him. I actually bought a skin for him, as you can see, so I've made great use of him. Then the first banner I pulled on, this is the first, so once I got into the game properly, which was at the release of Mountain. And by the way, at the time of Mountain's release, people were saying, he's not that good, you don't really need him. If you've already got Mudrock or Blaze, you know, he's not that great. Man, I think Mountain may be the most underestimated unit 6-star at release versus how strong he actually ended up being. So at that time, I did research, what should I go for? And very clearly, one of the resounding favorites of most powerful unit in the game was Surta. So I'm like, okay, people say she's amazing, everybody should have her. I'm going to save up until I can get her. And so I was waiting for, unfortunately, that's when I found out that I had just missed out on her solo banner release. In fact, I think a solar banner may have even been out after I had created my account, but during that period where I didn't properly play the game. Let me double check. So there's her banner, Unfettered Magma, and where is Mudrock and Roswell? You can just give me 1 second. I've got to know this. There's Forget Me Not. Oh no, okay. It was 1 month. Not even a month. 3 weeks before I created. If I'd created my account 3 weeks earlier, I could have re-rolled for Surtur, and I most likely would have actually. I should have actually re-rolled for, considering the time I did make it. I should have re-rolled for Mudrock and Rosmontis at the time. Anyways, so I thought I'm going to save up for Surtur, and I knew I had to wait for a standard banner. Thankfully, the standard banner that came out was Surtur plus Ifrit. It was like a full fire-themed banner, and that came out 1 month after the mountain event, the Mansfield Break. And so I saved up all the resources I had. It took me like 150 pulls to get her. I got Surtur plus Ifrit, and I think it was Weedy along the way. And it took everything I had, but I was very happy. I managed to get her on a daily pull, you know, using the daily amount of Arundum. Like I just need that little bit for another pull, and I managed to get her. So that was really good. And that set me up really well because now I had a good variety of core units, and I could start clearing some of the more difficult content, especially as a newer player. Then, as I played more and more, I started to borrow more and more different units. I realized very quickly I need to get my own Silver Ash, which I ended up buying with gold certificates. He came with Mountain on a standard banner. The two of them came together, and I pulled until I got one of them. So it was in October. So it would have been, 2.5 months later. And I managed to get one of them, which was Mountain, and then I bought Silver Ash. And, yes, the other thing I did was I really focused on getting Ash. And the announcement, well, not the announcement of the Originium Dust, was actually announced well before I found out about it. But me finding out about Originium Dust made me go, oh, okay, now I'm going to focus. I'm going to try to get, you know, the dailies done and everything so I can save up the 120 pulls for her. And in fact, because I really wanted to get Ash, I completely skipped over the Dusk Saga banner. I just did the daily pulls on that, but all those free pulls that they gave for a limited event, which was very generous, as always, I put all that into Ash, and then I got her on the first pull, which was great. I was very lucky with that, and now considering they still haven't run Originium Dust, RIP, I am very, very glad that I did get her, and I also bought her skin. Not so much because of the art. I do like the art, but it's more the sprite, and I love the animations for it. It's very cute. And then from that point onwards, that's when I started to, you know, really plan ahead and go, okay, we've got Calcit and Skadi coming up. I've got to make sure I get both of those. So I did. And then I was like, okay, Bagpipe's going to debut soon. I'm going to save up. I'm going to buy her Thorns. I managed to... How did I get Thorns again? Did I use my 6-star selector ticket to get him? I think... Yes, I'm pretty sure I did. The first 6-star selected ticket I used to get my own Thorns. I'm pretty sure I did. Yes. Yep. Yeah, I'm almost certain it was on Thorns. And, you know, and then I've carefully planned out my pulls since. Top operator tags have been very generous to me. So I got one very early where I got the Heliga, as I mentioned. Then for 6 months, I got nothing. Absolutely nothing. But then I had a string of top operator tags that netted me my Saria, my Nightingale. I believe I also got, I may have gotten Hoshiguma recently. At one point, I also got, I think I got Maggie, maybe even Ark at some point. Possibly Siege. Yeah, so I've gotten quite a few great units through the top operator tag system. In fact, all 3 of my accounts have had overall good luck with the top operators. My alt account was disgusting. I got, I think it was 5 in 3 weeks. I created the account, I got the first top operator tag, I think within 2 weeks. Before 2 months had even passed, I'd already had 5, and 4 out of those 5 were some of the best units you could get from that, which was absolutely busted. And this was happening during my dry spell on the main account, so at the time I was really annoyed. Yeah, and as far as limited banners go, I've managed to secure Ling and Li. This is where some of the bad luck comes back in. It took me so many pulls to get Li that I almost had to spark him, as in go for 300 pulls to buy him from the store. Managed to get him in the high 200s. I was so close to 300 that at that point may as well put in a little bit more, and I bought Dusk. However, I got Nian right before the 300. So I got both Dusk and Nian in the one event, which was very, very lucky. And then with W, it was a similar story because it was taking me all the pulls to get to Radiant Null. I had to go to 300 for her. She just wouldn't arrive, which is so irritating. And I had pulled multiple, like for my viewers, for some viewers I'd even pulled maximum potential Radiant Null in 300 pulls, and I couldn't even get one. You know, it was just one of those really unfortunate, you know, the bottom 1% of luck for the event. What was really annoying when you have to go to 300 is when you have to go use those 300 pulls just to get the damn focus units. But on pull 299, I got W, which was it's a little bit of a nice consolation prize, because if I was going to go to 300, it would have been to buy W anyway. So I got W, and then I bought Radiant Null, and it was okay. It was made up for by some really good luck on prior solo banners, like Blemishine. I got her really quickly. I got Fartooth. In fact, I got 2 Fartooth in one 10 pull ticket. I think within 20 pulls, I had 2 of her. Yeah, so a lot of them I got really quickly. Summer Chen, I got her in, I think it was 14 pulls, which is why I don't have Mizuki, because I didn't have to go any further. So yeah, overall, there were moments of extreme luck, and then there were moments of 300 pulls to get 1 unit. So it sort of balances out, but overall, I would say my luck is quite positive. In terms of 5 stars, I've got pretty much everything, except everything that I care about. The big one that's missing is Elysium. Still never managed to get him. Completely evades me. Things I do have Max Potential Project Red and Texas, who I use all the time, both of those. So I'm really glad about that. Almost Max Warfarin, which is probably my most used healer outside of Ansel. So, and then Firewatch, one of my starter units. She's Max Potential as well, almost exclusively through recruitment. In fact, for all 3 of these, almost all of the pulls are through recruitment and those free 5-star tickets. And Elysium, I will get him guaranteed for free on the next 5-star selector ticket in about 4 months' time when we have our anniversary, because they will add a bunch of new units to it, including Elysium, and if, like my alt account, you're missing Shamir, then you can also get her as well if you want to complete the Baibeek Tequila Shamir combo, hence why these 2 are built at E2 level 1. And for 4 stars, I've got everybody at maximum potential. I just recently completed the max potential set, with the last one was an Estelle, the final potential. What's interesting about that is on that Surtur and Ifrit banner, I specifically remember pulling so many Estelles. You know, considering you got a brand new account, you've got pretty much no units, and it's just pulling the same one after the other after the other. I think I got 4 Estelles in that one session. And there were still tons of 4 stars. I did not have it all by the end of that. I've got a pretty decent build-up. I do need to start working on promoting them. I have been neglecting them severely, and some of my 5 stars are mostly focused on the 6s. On other accounts, I use different units sometimes, so You know, there's only so many resources that can go around. And for the robots, I've never specifically gone out of my way to complete them. I just recently completed Max Potential Lancet, so it's taken a while. And these are very, very slow. If there is one thing where statistically I have terrible, like absolutely atrocious luck, it is getting the robots. The number of times a tag is dropped is ridiculous. I think my success rate now is down to about 30% chance only of the tag holding and not dropping. So that's just really annoying. Yeah, so that's my account overall. My most used units, I would say amongst the 6 stars, definitely Thorns, who's my favorite character. I love using Radiant Knell. That skill 2 is one of my favorite abilities in the game. Ling, on my main account, I have not used that much because she is my most used unit on my CN account. Well, her and Gnosis are my most used units on my CN account because those were the 2 big pulls that I first did on that account. I also use Phantom a ton, but more so on the CN account again because he was right at the very first banner I pulled. I pulled for Phantom on my CN account, so I've used them a ton over there. Over here, I've definitely used Suzu and Exia a lot as my starter units. Plenty of use out of them. Gladiator is one of my most used units on my alt account. Not as much on this one. Over here, I do use Blemishine a lot. And then in the lower rarity ones, Texas, Project Red, Warfarin, Firewatch, use them all the time. In fact, sometimes I have to just force myself to use other units, otherwise I use the same units just too often. And then with the 4 stars, of course, you know, you got Myrtle, Gravel, Perfumer. These 3 were core for a very long time for me in my early days. Lower rarity ones, I particularly like using Arene, J. Integrated Strategies has really taught me the power of Jay. And so he used to be, in my early days of playing this game, I used to mostly use him as a niche pick with his first skill to silence exploding bugs, because those things are so damn annoying as a new player. But his sustain, incredible. Beanstalk, absolutely love using her, although I use her a lot more on my CN account at the time. She was one of the starter units there. And Pogdenko, I use her a ton as well. And then in the 3 stars, my most used units are definitely Ansel, Spot, and good old Coco. Especially in integrated strategies, they are top tier units. Pretty much every run I get those 3, unless I don't get the tags. Otherwise, there's no reason not to take them in every single run. Yeah, so that's the account. Right, so now I need to update my wish list of units that I want to go for. So this is, fortunately you can't zoom on this snip tool. This is my wish list as it was the last time I made this. So this was made just before, I believe it was just before the release of, yeah, I think it may have just been before the release of Summer Chen. So we're talking at least 6 months, probably longer ago, when I made this. And as you can see, I have managed to acquire most of the units. So it's time to redo this and compare and see what's changed in terms of priority, or some units if I even still want them at all. I remember at the time I made this last wish list, I put W, Rosmontis, and Dusk just as like pure pipe dreams. I said, I'll never get them. To be fair, I did have to go a lot of pulls to get them in the end, and I did end up getting Neon. But yeah, you can never rely on getting Legacy Limiteds unless you're willing to go 300 pulls. So, you know, it was pipe dream stuff, but I managed to get 2 out of the 3, which is pretty good. Now, if I do get Rosmontis, it's most likely because I get cursed once again with having to go 300 pulls. So let's hope that does not happen for a 3rd time. For the love of God, please spare me. Right. So I've got over here, where is it? It's over here. So I've pre-prepared this thing from the tier list maker, which is where I get this snip from. And I've also shoved all the units I'm interested in towards the top. Okay, so for those of you who aren't aware, these are the upcoming new banners, like anything that's not a standard banner, over the next 6 months. So we've got Horn as the next big release, leading all the way up to Stainless, who's just about to come out in CN. Quick recap, we've got Horn, followed by Urain and Spectre the Unchained for the Stultiferia Navis limited event. Then we've got another Joint Ops banner with Skadi Calcit Exia Mountain, solo release of Ebenholtz, solo release of Dorothy, limited event with Posey and Gaviel the Invincible, another Joint Ops for CC with Carnelian, Maggie, Bagpipe, Godsinger, then solo release of Moina, then a new chapter retrospective banner with Horn, Sally, and Mudrock, and then the solo release of Stainless. Right. So, Horn coming up next. Now, I love Horn as a unit. Absolutely love her. Highly recommend her to anyone. The difficulty with Horn, and this is the same difficulty with Fiametta and Golden Glow before her, is it's 3 great units released in succession in between 2 great limited banners. So it's such a stacked set of months that it's very hard to have enough resources for everything. And unless you're really lucky, even if you get unlucky just once, it can completely screw your plans. You might not have that many pulls to go in for everything. So Horn is top priority in terms of how much I would use her and build her, but in terms of how many resources can I dedicate, like how many pulls can I throw at her, I can't do that many because I have to be absolutely certain that I have enough for the limited event right after. And just in case that limited event goes wrong, I need to be able to save enough for the limited event following. Again, it's my paranoia. I'm overly cautious. I'm not a gambler. I don't gamble on Twitch, so yeah, it's a bit of paranoia. So I'm going to put her in high, where I'm going to throw some resources at her, but after maybe 100 pulls, or or the next 6-star after that, if I don't get her, I just skip and hope I get her somewhere else. That's what I had to do on CN. On my CN account, I wanted to guarantee 300 pulls for Corrupt Skadi, and I did that. And fortunately, on that way to 300, I got Horn, and that's actually what made me realize how much I like her as a unit. Because when she first releases in Chapter 10, she doesn't seem that great, because Chapter 10 is not a good chapter for her. In fact, it's like the worst stages that you can use her in, because the whole mechanic of that chapter is these slugs that are really hard to kill and that just bog down your units. And with Horn, you don't want her to be bogged down. So she doesn't seem that good at release. But then every event after that, she's been fantastic. So she went from like, meh, I don't care about her, all the way to use her a ton on my CN account. So yeah, she goes into the high. Now for the top priority, we've got the Irain and Spectre. Now Spectre would not be top priority if she wasn't limited. I do like her as a unit. If she wasn't limited, she'd just be high. In fact, I like Irain a lot more than Spectre from this banner, but I don't want to be in that situation where I skip a limited and then later on I really want them. And also with future modules and such, the Abyssal Hunters as a team, of using all the Abyssal Hunters, Gladia, Skadi, Spectre, and whoever the last one is that I'm forgetting. Using that whole team of Abyssal Hunters does make a really strong team, because they all buff each other and they just become really busted, especially because of Gladia's module making them nearly invincible. Yeah, so I don't want to miss out on her, so I am going to put her in the top priority. I will make sure that I get both of them, hence why I can only put so much into Horn. Now, after that, there is the solo banners for joint ops. I don't need anything from here. I've got all of this except for Skadi. Actually, while we're on the topic of Abyssal Hunters and Skadi, I am adding Skadi to the low area because of that Abyssal Hunter build and because her modules give her this interesting niche as like a fast redeploy assassin guard that is quite useful. And I'm at that point where I can kind of afford to go for some really low priority picks, especially if I can buy them with gold certificates as I can. As you can see in the previous one, she was nowhere near in the list. She was like trashed here before her modules. So she's definitely worth going for. If you've already got Skadi, I do recommend building her once the module comes out. So then I've already got all the other three, so I won't be pulling here. I'll just be buying her whenever I can afford to. There's a solo of Ebenholtz. Unfortunately, he's the weakest 6-star that's on the slate for release. And since likely to be on very low resources after this month of craziness that we've had, I'm unlikely to be able to afford to go for him. I'm not even going to put him on the list anywhere. I'm not even sure if I would build him if I had if I got him by chance, because I don't think I can even afford the resources to build him, the materials. So then there's Dorothy. Dorothy's quite different. You know, she's quite fun with the Bomberman skill 3. I'll put her on the low. I will not put any resources into her. If I pull her off banner, I'll put a little bit, it's sort of like a low wishful thinking tier placement for this one. Then, there's Lumen, of course. Lumen is top priority. You get him for free, right? So you don't have to pull for him. But I'm putting him in the top priority because I am absolutely going to invest 100% in building him. Best healer in the game, and he's an absolutely fantastic unit. I can't believe they give him away for free. It's possibly even the best unit of his event. Certainly the most unique of the 3 6-stars from that event. 100% recommend building. Plus, you get a ton of the resources that you need for him for free. So they really want to encourage new players to get into that. Then after that, we've got the next limited event, and this is where I got another 2 top priority units. Now, of these 2, I like Posey a lot more. I do think she's also the stronger of the 2. So once again, limited event where the non-limited is the stronger one. However, Gavial, I would say, is stronger than Spectre the Unchained. And I think she's definitely a highly recommended pull. And as a limited unit, you don't want to miss out. You never know what the module is going to be for AoE guards. I think it's probably going to be really good because AoE guards are already so good. So yeah, don't miss out on her. And plus, alongside her, you've got an excellent non-limited unit. Love snipers. I love units with global abilities, and Posey's got like one of those ideal global abilities with that little typewriting sniper turret that she can deploy and absolutely shred enemies. Yeah. So with that one, I'm going quite deep. Also, just a quick note for those who aren't aware, on the Spectre the Unchained Irene banner, the Legacy Limited is Skadi the Corrupting Heart. And on the Posey Gavial one, it's Summer Chen. So if you do want to go to 300 pulls, to get a Legacy Limited, you'll probably have to make a decision between the 2. Now, overall, Summer Chen is the stronger one, but Corrupt Skadi is the more unique one. And the reason why on my Sienna count, I went for Corrupt Skadi first, is because you can borrow Summer Chen anytime you want. Everybody's got her on support, so she's always there on demand. And then it turned out on my Sienna account that if I invested my gold certificates on buying pulls, I could also afford Summer Chen later on. So I had to do 2 300s in a row, but I'm completely drained. And we shall not talk of what happened in trying to get Moina on my Sienna account. I still have nightmares about that one. Okay, so after that, we have got the next joint ops banner, and I have everybody on this banner. I got a lucky Carnelian off banner recently. So, well, I say recently, a few months ago, and I've just recently built her. so I don't need to pull for her. Although I never planned to get her because she's only like a mid-tier unit, but she's quite cool. Passenger was actually, he was at the time, just to go back to the bit of the account tour, at the time he was a massive disappointment when I pulled him. It was on the Mountain and Silver Ash banner. I pulled, and I got Passenger first, and I was so disappointed I like rage pulled until the next 6-star and got Mountain. And at the time I was really disappointed because Passenger was considered like the worst 6-star at his release. But with several buffs and actually using him, I realized not only is he much stronger than people said, and with the buffs he's now definitely an S tier unit, he is one of my favorite units to play with. It's quite a good banner, but you can get Bagpipe with gold certificates, so pulling on this is not that recommended, especially because you're coming right after a limited. And then you've got my Uncle Moina, who really hates me. Absolute top priority. For me, he's not just a top priority because he's really strong. He's like a more... he's like a Silver Ash that you don't need to retreat, but takes a bit more time to get going compared to Silver Ash. I also love the Kazimias faction, so I want to get all the units from that, you know, Blemishine, Radiant Knell, some of my favorite units. So I'm definitely getting him, and he's got this ridiculously busted passive, which gives everyone of that faction damage reflect, and it's just so good. He's really fun to use. He's a fantastic unit, so absolute top priority for me. It's quite a lot of top priorities, although to be fair, it's only 3 top priority banners for me so far. Then after that, we've got the reruns of these. I've already got Mudrock and Sally. Mudrock was a off banner on the on one of the 300s that I had to go. On the Radiant Knell banner, I think. Along the way, I got Mudrock, which is a bit of a consolation prize in having to go 300, which because it meant I no longer had to buy. I was no longer buying my. No, hang on. It wasn't even on that 300 pulls. It was on the banner before that. Was it on the Fartooth banner? Or the Blemishine one? I think it may have been the Blemishine one. This is a perfect combo with Blemishine. So, yeah, I got pretty lucky on that. I may have to pull on this one to get Horn if I don't get her on her solo. 50% chance on her solo, 33% chance on that one, which is the second best shot at getting her. But let's hope it doesn't come to that. Stainless, he's not out yet, haven't used him, so I'm not sure if I'm going to go for him on my main account. 6 months away, so got plenty of time to think about it. And he's not even in this tier list, so this tier list maker, so we'll forget about him for now. Now, as for older units, right, so as we can see here, there's Angelina and Shining were on the moderate. Shining is still in the moderate, and in fact is my top priority for the moderate because pretty much every healer is good in some way. They all bring their own thing to the table, and I love Shining's design, and I've got her on other accounts and I use her all the time, so I definitely want to get her. Definitely one of the coolest designs in the game to me. Angelina, on the other hand, she's dropping down to the low tier, and in fact I probably want her even less than regular Skadi. Now I can see myself using Skadi more than Angelina, not because Angelina's bad. Angelina's a great unit, it's just I've got Gnosis and Suzu that I use all the time, so I don't really need her. Then there was Schwartz, who Schwartz was in the low, and she's gone down a bit because of Posey. However, in an interesting turn of fate, she gets power crept by Posey, but Schwartz's best companion is Posey. The two of them together in a line, you know, you've got their 2 massive crossbows, is amazing. It's the best. They're their own best combo. So I still want her, and she's probably at the low end of the moderate. Buying with gold certificates. So all of these, I'm not putting any pulls into them. I'm buying them with gold certificates if I can afford the certificates at the time. And Shining should be due very, very soon. I'm very much anticipating that. Then we've got Cheeto, who, as you can see, was not on this one at all. But because I managed to get a few lucky... So I bought Rosa with gold certificates. Arc, I've gotten 3 arcs. I think I've got him 1 with top op tag. And then I've got him... I think I got Arc on both 300 pulls that I had to do. I got him along the way for both. So now I've got 3 arcs. Yeah, because I managed to get a few of these lows just along the way of other things, I can now throw in a few others. So I do want to get Cheeto. However, Cheeto is going to be debuting in 6 months in the gold certificate store. So I'll leave her in moderate, but not for pulls. I will buy her in her debut. Mizuki, no interest in him. However, if, as we believe, he is going to get a free Life 2D skin from Integrated Strategies 3, then I am interested in getting him, because if it's a cool skin, I want to use him. Plus he's a decent unit. So I'll throw him into the top of the low just so I can make use. But I won't put any resources, I won't put any resources into getting him. I just want to be really lucky and get him on a free daily pull of a limited banner. That's what I want. Hypergriff, give him to me on a free daily pull. That's the dilemma with units that you want, but you don't want to put any resources. It's like, because if I pull him on a banner, that means he replaces the other 6-star that I really wanted, you know, so you kind of want him, but you almost dread the unit turning up because it means you didn't get what you wanted, what you really wanted. So you sort of hope to get it for free along the way. Bagpipe, who I got my first one way back when. I will be buying 1 more Bagpipe for potential 5. So next time she appears in the gold certificate store, I will get her for potential 5. And I've also decided that I'll do the same thing with Phantom, because he just recently appeared, but by the time he comes back, I will have the spare gold certificates, and I want to get him to potential 5. One of my favorite units. He's got a really cool Life 2D skin from Integrated Strategies 2, which just came out, and one of the best units in the game to get potentials on. We've got Rosmontis, you know, she's going to stay in that pipe dream low tier. I need some potentials for Lapland, who wasn't over here, but I use her quite a bit, and I do want to get her to that potential of increasing the duration of the silence. We've still got that damn, we're still missing the damn Elysium, but now he's guaranteed with that 5-star selector ticket. We've got the collab character from the, I don't remember the name of the event, but the little cat boy. He's free. I'm just putting him over here because I'll just put him down over there because he's free, and I just want a reminder. Cantabile, she is a high priority. Now I'll get her along the way in an attempt to get Moena, but I would like to get her max potential. Now, of course, I will not throw in any extra pulls to get potential for her, but you know, if every 5-star I pull in, I'm going to do a 10 pull on Moena. Moena is going to be the first pull, and then there's going to be another 6 Cantabiles right next to him. That's all I'm asking. It's not too much to ask. And then I need some pulls, some potentials on April for the fast redeploy benefits as always, and then my 3 remaining robots, which are very much lagging behind. I think it's potential 2, 3, 4, I believe, on those 3. So give it another 2 years and I will have max potential on the other 3 robots. Hopefully I don't get any more Lancets because she's at max. So yeah, that's it. That's my plan for all the units that I want to go for. I will update this more frequently. So I'll probably do it in about 3 months again just to see where I'm at. And then we'll see how much I cross out. And I might even start considering potentials for some other 6-stars, like, you know, perhaps Silver Ash or Exia. You know, start getting those potentials that give a boost to a good talent, like Ifrit. Like, I wouldn't mind another Ifrit, for instance. That would help. So yeah, we'll have to see. So comparing the previous to the new. So yeah. The main difference, apart from all the new units is in this low area where I've, you know, Skadi's really gone up in my estimation from absolute trash nothing to I would use her if I got her. That's a pretty big jump. So yeah, she's added. And then Cheeto is really fun, especially in integrated strategies, and she's always good in integrated strategies. So I definitely want to get her. She's really fun to use, and I would like to have my own so that I don't have to keep borrowing her at the start of a run. Yeah, so that's the plan. Right. I realize this has been going on for a while. I'm looking at the time at 40 minutes. 40-minute video. Some people do like a bit of the long-form content. Just listen to it in the background. Yeah, and this, for me, is half the fun of the game, is not just planning out the pulls, but planning out which units you're going to get, what you're going to build, planning out the resources. Once again, link in the description for the video and link to this actual sheet if you want to use it yourself. That's part of the fun for me, is planning this out. And then you never know what's going to happen and what you're going to get, what lucky off banners you're going to get, what cursed on banners are going to happen, you know, going to miss out on. Please, wait when it comes to the main account where it really counts, don't screw me. Please. Or I will kill you. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the crazy ramblings of a pretty obsessive Arknights player. And yeah, plenty more videos to come, so do subscribe if you haven't already. And join me on twitch.tv/Dr. Volk, where I'm actually about to go live. I'm quickly recording this before I start a stream. And yeah, I'll see you around.